Good morning. Thank you to our guests and members of the media for coming here today at 2 District as we launch AutoGuard 2.0. My name is Constable Kevin Abria, and I will be the MC today. Speaking today will be the Honorable Graham McGregor, Associate Minister of Auto Theft and Bail Reform, His Worship David West, Mayor of the City of Richmond Hill, Chief Jim McSween, Chief of York Regional Police, and Brian Gast, Vice President, Investigative Services of Equite Association. Following the conclusion of the speakers, we will open the floor to questions from the media. Please keep in mind that we will be framing the questions in line with why we're here today for AutoGuard, and I'll give further instructions after that. I would now like to call to the podium the Honorable Graham McGregor, Associate Minister of Auto Theft and Bail Reform.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here in Richmond Hill, beautiful Richmond Hill, with Chief McSween, His Worship Mayor West, as well as Brian Gast from Equite Association, the Deputy Mayor of Vaughan, Linda Jackson, His Worship Stephen Del Duca, the Mayor of Vaughan, Norma McCullough, a board member of York Regional Police Service, and Elliot Silverstein from CAA. It's no secret to anyone in this room that public safety is a top priority for this government, including me, Premier Ford, and Solicitor General Kersner. We will always put your safety and the safety of Ontario families first. Crime right now, and auto theft in particular, is a serious problem disrupting the lives of hardworking people, not only here in York Region, but all across Ontario. People worry about their cars, about how they'll get to work, pick up groceries, take their kids to hockey practice, and visit family. They worry even more about carjackings and home invasions, about the possibility of some armed scumbag entering their space and saying, "Give me the keys to your car." These thefts put significant profits in the pockets of organized crime, and they make people feel unsafe in their homes and in their communities. Law enforcement, like the York Regional Police, work hard to keep everybody safe. It's a challenging and complicated task. When launching the first Operation AutoGuard in 2023, York Regional Police recognized that they needed a variety of tools and that it would require a sustained effort. And that's why our government, under the leadership of Premier Ford, is making sure police have the support they need to get the job done. We're making sure they have the tools they need to keep Ontario safe. Through our Preventing Auto Thefts grant, we're providing $900,000 to the York Regional Police to combat auto theft in York Region. This is part of the $18 million our government is providing to 21 projects across the province to fight auto theft through new and enhanced crime-fighting measures focused on prevention, detection, and analysis. We're also supporting specialized teams to help police services identify, disrupt, and dismantle organized crime networks and to help prosecute complex cases. And we found that helicopters are invaluable for fighting auto theft and other crimes, so our government is investing in equipping more police services with this capability, so auto thieves have nowhere to hide. Our government is proud to stand with law enforcement. They have our backs every single day, and they deserve politicians that have their backs as well. And it's thanks to their hard work that we're here today. Chief McSween will have more to say on the specifics of AutoGuard 2.0, but what I want to say is that the York Regional Police are making a difference. Their dedicated and focused police work is holding criminals accountable, making the people of York Region safer. The job is far from done, but I know that our law enforcement officers are tireless. They will always have our support. And when you see results like we're going to be seeing here today, think if we listen to the critics and the public or people that live in public life that think investing in police services isn't a good idea. If we listen to those critics, the naysayers, and didn't put investments like we've put forward, we wouldn't be here today celebrating the good work of York Regional Police Service. But there's another piece of the puzzle. It's particularly frustrating to law enforcement, to me, to mayors, to the people of Ontario, when we hear yet again that an offender was out on bail when they committed a crime, or that somebody has been arrested and they're already out again and being investigated for yet another criminal case. It happens far too many times. Canada's catch and release bail system does not deter auto theft and carjacking. Frankly, it tells organized crime business as usual, and it must stop. When it comes to tackling auto theft, the federal government must be at the table. We continue to advocate for proper scanning at the Brampton and Vaughan rail hubs, key hubs where stolen cars make their way out of Ontario, your cars, and we won't stop until we get that done. We also need stronger security measures to stop the flow of illegal guns across our border. And we need, most of all, we need bail reform to keep violent and repeat offenders behind bars. Congratulations once again to Chief McSween and the whole team here at York Regional Police for a fantastic job with AutoGuard 2.0. Our government is proud to support your work. We will continue to have your backs every single day. Honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Sorry. I'd like now to call up His Worship David West, Mayor of the City of Richmond Hill.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, and thank you, Minister, for being here. I'd just like to quickly also add my welcome to Mayor Del Duca and Deputy Mayor Linda Jackson for being here today, as well as all the other very important dignitaries. I am honored to join you on this important day and stand with you and our law enforcement professionals who do an incredible job in York Region and Richmond Hill each and every single day. And on behalf of all of my municipal colleagues in the City of Richmond Hill, I want to thank you to each and every member of the force for your tireless commitment to and effort to serve and protect. I also thank you again to all the distinguished dignitaries that are here today, the organizers and the attendees, and welcome to Richmond Hill. Auto theft continues in our community to be a real and growing concern in 2024, and not just in our community, but across the province and our region. This year, I represented Richmond Hill residents, as did Chief McSween and many others from across Southern Ontario and Quebec at the National Summit Combating Auto Theft in Ottawa. The outcome of this summit was good. I think the message was heard by our federal counterparts on the many different things that need to be done to address this big and growing problem. Automakers, insurance organizations, and all levels of government agreed at that summit to further actions because they recognize that this is a complex problem and it requires a collaborative solution. Congratulations to our York Regional Police on the successes of AutoGuard 1.0, which really did make a significant difference in 2023 in our communities in York Region. We had over 80 vehicles were recovered at a value of about $5 million. But most importantly, as you can see, the reduction in auto thefts was over 30%. Having said that, though, we're still experiencing way more auto thefts than is acceptable. So Operation AutoGuard is a welcome addition to our set of tools that we have in our toolbox. I was very grateful a while ago to do a ride-along with some of the police here in Richmond Hill. And it was during that time that I really did end up getting a very more granular and deeper appreciation for all that goes into the complexities of almost anything that the police do in our community. And I think the thing that I saw most was the efforts of individual officers and the force as a whole to make sure that we're all safe. Part of the emphasis on this 2.0 AutoGuard is community engagement. And I know from both my experience in this ride-along and conversations that I have daily with people in our community that that is going to be a very important part of the path to success for this initiative. So, you know, Richmond Hill residents deserve to feel safe in their communities, as do residents in all other York Region communities. And I know that York Regional Police has been listening to concerns that elected officials like us have been telling them because we're hearing it from our residents. And I'm quite confident knowing that we're doing the things that we can do at our level and advocating for the things that we can't do at other levels of government. And again, thank you, Minister, for being here. That we need to be working together to make this problem much, much, much better than it is right now. So thank you very much for being here. And again, thank you to the police force for doing what they're doing. Thank you, Chief McSween.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd now like to call up Chief Jim McSween, Chief of York Regional Police.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'd be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge both deputies are here today who play a huge role in keeping our communities safe. Deputy Chief Al Almeida is here with me, as well as Deputy Chief Paulo da Silva. Both run our districts and our investigative services branch, and as you can imagine, they collaborate quite closely together to make projects like AutoGuard a success. So welcome to York Regional Police 2 District Headquarters for the launch of, as you've heard, AutoGuard 2.0. And a special welcome to the Honourable Graham McGregor, Associate Minister of Auto Theft and Bail Reform. Also like to welcome the members of the Police Services Board, our Deputy Mayor of the City of Vaughan, Linda Jackson, and Miss Norma McCullough. Thank you for the board support. His Worship David West, Mayor of the City of Richmond Hill. His Worship Stephen Del Duca, Mayor of the City of Vaughan. And special guest Brian Gass, Vice President of Investigative Services with Equite Association, partners of York Regional Police. Also like to take this opportunity to recognize our guests joining us today from Aviva Canada and CAA. So as mentioned, I'm announcing the launch of a major project, the second of its kind, dubbed AutoGuard 2.0. York Regional Police is building on the success of last year's project, employing a multi-pronged approach that includes enforcement, active community engagement, and proven crime prevention strategies in the south end of York Region. As you've heard, the first Operation AutoGuard was a campaign of combined crime prevention efforts and targeted enforcement with a focus on disrupting organized crime groups operating across our region, our province, and of course across our entire country. It led to the recovery of 80 vehicles, as you've heard, worth more than $5 million, with 56 people being charged with almost 300 charges. The initiative and many other projects led by YRP through 2023 and 2024 have made a significant impact in helping to combat the rising rates of auto theft throughout York Region. From 2020 to 2023, the number of vehicles stolen in York Region increased by almost 300%. Although the numbers are still very high, as of this week, there have been approximately 2,440 vehicles stolen in York Region, down from 3,460 at this time last year, representing an approximately 31% decrease from last year. While we don't want to celebrate too much, we do have to acknowledge the fact that a lot of the efforts that are paying off across all governments, our police services, our partners, is having an impact. Sorry, wind here. The brazen and violent nature of auto theft has escalated due to the involvement of organized crime, which has extended its reach of these criminals beyond our borders, stealing vehicles from crowded parking lots, taking mere seconds to steal high-end vehicles from driveways. They work in teams to scout out vehicles in advance as their criminal organizations arrange delivery to overseas locations to complete the lucrative illegal circle. We know that combating these extensive criminal activities will take more than one campaign, more than one police service, and more than one approach. The investigators here at YRP are working with other police services in joint force operations across the Greater Toronto Area and organizations like Equite and the Canada Border Services Agency. We will continue to work across all levels of government with law enforcement, community agencies, and our citizens to end auto theft. Which brings me to one of the most important and effective components of our strategy, which is to actively engage with our community to help us in the fight against auto theft. AutoGuard 2.0 will utilize many of the same elements from last year's campaign, working directly with the community to prevent auto theft before it takes place. The stellar work of our crime analysts create the heat maps you see here today behind me, revealing specific neighborhoods that are prone to vehicle thefts. We're using this invaluable data to focus our investigations and make a significant dent in the number of vehicles stolen. Officers from community services and our auxiliary unit are approaching homeowners in these hotspots directly, giving them the opportunity to play an active role in crime prevention. We're handing out Faraday bags, which block the signal duplicating devices that replicate key fobs. And Faraday bags will also be handed out in public locations like shopping malls and recreational centers. Crime prevention postcards, which have been translated into 4 of our region's most common languages: Farsi, Russian, traditional, and simplified Chinese. A series of videos which have also been translated are being posted to social media to educate the community on the 6 steps motorists can take to protect themselves from becoming a victim of auto theft. There are 6 practical steps that anyone can adopt to ensure the safety of your vehicle. Number 1, invest in outdoor lighting and security cameras in your home. Use a steering wheel lock. Store car keys in Faraday bags. Do not leave valuables visible in your vehicle. Park in a garage if possible. Install a GPS tracker or kill switch in your vehicle. These 6 steps are proven methods to deter car thieves. As we've reported previously, carjackings have also significantly increased in York Region. As of last month, and you've heard me say before, we've experienced a 106% increase in 2024 from this time last year. So I want to take this opportunity to remind motorists of the steps they can take to avoid a potential carjacking, which, as you know, is one of the most violent forms of auto theft. Be aware of your surroundings. Ensure you keep your doors locked while driving. Park your car in a populated, well-lit area. And if you suspect you're being targeted, please ensure you contact 911 immediately or drive to a local police station. And always prioritize your personal safety over your property. As we move forward, YRP will continue to deploy dedicated, specially trained investigative teams that are focused solely on auto thefts in York Region and across the GTA. We've seen success with our strategy and will keep working hard to further reduce the number of thefts, increase the number of vehicles recovered, and arrest those responsible. Our actions and those of our residents contribute significantly to community safety. Crime prevention is a shared responsibility, and we're urging members of the community to familiarize themselves with resources on our website at yrp.ca and to follow us on social media, where we'll be providing important crime prevention information, as I mentioned, in the coming weeks and months. So the message is crystal clear. Auto theft and violent carjackings are unacceptable. YRP will continue to dedicate our resources to ensure our community feels safe and is safe. We will hold those victimizing our communities responsible for their actions through all of our prevention and enforcement efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief McSween. I'd now like to call up Brian Gast, Vice President of Investigative Services with Equite Association.
Good morning. Thank you for the introduction. As mentioned, my name is Brian Gast. I'm the Vice President of Investigative Services at Equite Association. We're a national not-for-profit organization representing the property and casualty insurance industry with a focus on combating insurance crime and fraud prevention. I'd like to thank Chief McSween and the York Regional Police for inviting us, and I congratulate them on the tremendous job that they're doing to combat vehicle crimes. They are definitely world-class and are known nationally and internationally for their very effective and innovative work. I'd also like to acknowledge the Honorable Graham McGregor, Associate Minister of Auto Theft and Bail Reform, and Richmond Hill Mayor David West, as valued partners in our continued effective efforts to combat auto theft. Together, I know we share the desire to keep our community safe. Initiatives like AutoGuard 2 will do just that. Equite has a significant role to play by helping Canadians fight insurance crimes, which includes vehicle theft and fraud. We accomplish this by providing investigative and vehicle examination expertise and advanced analytics. The investigative teams at Equite Association works in collaboration with the CBSA, port authorities, government agencies, CISO, and law enforcement agencies across the country, including, of course, York Regional Police. In Canada, a vehicle is stolen every 5 minutes. The vehicles that organized crime groups are targeting in Ontario are newer and of greater value than any other province. Since 2018, auto theft claim costs have surged in Ontario by 524%, and in 2023, in this province, for the first time, auto theft claims have surpassed $1 billion in a single year. Auto theft has reached a crisis level in this country. And while Equite recently reported that auto theft has decreased in Ontario by 14% year over year, we can't take our foot off the pedal. There's a lot of more work to be done. But to acknowledge that there's been some great work already being done and continues to be done. Beyond the financial impact, auto theft seriously impacts the sense of security for community. Ontarians are feeling vulnerable. A study finds that more than 80% of Canadians say that they are concerned about their community safety due to auto theft crisis. They are worried that their personal safety and of their families. Canada continues to be a source nation for stolen vehicles, with organized crime exporting stolen vehicles to the ports or revending for domestic resale. Profit margins are high, and historically consequences for criminals are low. As a result, stolen vehicles are frequently trafficked in order to finance and carry out criminal activities, ranging from drugs, firearms, to international terrorism. Ontario's population, high volume of targeted vehicles, and its proximity to the Port of Montreal makes it especially vulnerable to auto theft. That's why operations like Project Auto Guard 2, launched today by York Regional Police, plays a significant role in making communities safer. We applaud the Ontario government and law enforcement across the province who have taken this matter very seriously and invested heavily to combat these serious crimes. Ontario's auto theft problem cannot be remedied in isolation. It requires this kind of dedication and collaborative approach through public-private partnerships to ultimately combat the crime and protect the people of Ontario. There's a lot of great work being done, and I'm confident that together we can overcome this crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now open the floor to questions from the media. If you could please state who your question is directed to.
Yeah, appreciate that question, and we can't have the scenario where you have the same criminal out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times reoffending again and again. The reason why offenders are let out on bail in a catch and release policy is because the criminal code says that they have to. The criminal code, with changes that the federal government made in 2019, they emphasize maximum principles of restraint, kind of the least restrictive forms of bail that can be possibly applied. And we're seeing criminals taking advantage of it, frankly. What we've continued to advocate for with the federal government is to fix their mistake. Remember, this was all the rage back in 2019. This was the progressive liberal academia thing. Let the criminals out and let people be out on bail in community. This was all the rage in those kind of PhD academic circles at the time. What we've seen is that experiment has not worked. It has led to our communities being less safe, and we need them to step up and clean up the mess that they made. At the same time, we're stepping up in Ontario through investments over $100 million in bail compliance, investments in frontline police officers, appointing more judges, more Crown attorneys. We're beefing up resources where we can, knowing that that's a job that we've got to do as well. But make no mistake, we have a weak criminal code here in Canada, and we need that to change. I mean, I would say they are. Certainly, I think you hear from your audience. I hear from my constituents. I'm a Brampton MPP, and we hear from people across Ontario. They're concerned. They're frustrated. They want meaningful bail reform, and I would advocate, write your member of parliament. Right? We're seeing them start to say. I almost look at it as the 7 stages of grief, where the federal government's now saying. They were in the denial stage at first, saying everything's great, everything's honky-dory, the criminal code's perfect. Now they're in the bargaining phase where they're saying, we might have made a mistake, but it's actually the province's fault. What we need them to get to is acceptance, know that this is their responsibility, implement meaningful criminal code reform today. Thanks.
Yeah, so it was 106% on the carjackings. I can't give you an answer on are the numbers equal, car thefts to carjackings right now, but it only stands to reason that if the numbers are going down in one area and going up in another, it should concern all of us. Carjackings are violent sometimes. Sometimes they're carrying weapons. Sometimes they're carrying handguns. So we are putting all of our resources into both aspects of how criminal organizations are getting these vehicles. One of them is through AutoGuard or initiatives like this, and the other is through Deputy Almeida's area, Investigative Services, who are our robbery folks, are doing a tremendous job at investigating robberies in this region and doing our very best to make sure the message is out loud and clear that, as I mentioned before, it's unacceptable, and we'll continue to do our work to make sure people are safe in this community. We'll continue at this. I guess it's a silver lining in what is still a bad news story, in that there are still a lot of thefts of vehicles going on in the region and across the GTA. But we do have to acknowledge that they are down 31%, at least in this aspect that we're talking about here today. That is some good news. But we'll keep at it. We'll keep collaborating. We'll keep working with our partners, and we'll lobby government where it's required to make whatever changes are necessary. Yep. Yeah, so these areas really are traditionally in the south end of the region. You can see the colors represent the highest density of car thefts in the region, and those are the areas that we'll be focused on with our crime prevention initiatives and efforts, because we know if that's where the crimes are happening, then those are the people we need to be engaged with. And as we push out this information, we know people, it has an impact on them, and they do take steps necessary to protect themselves. That's the key to this, right? It's a different approach than just going out and traditionally. We will still arrest people. We will still enforce the law. But the reality is people have to take some responsibility for making good choices with how they deal with their vehicles as well. We're just giving them the information so they can do a better job of that. And hopefully that will continue to see this trend drop. Yep. Yeah. So look, I can't speak to what vehicle manufacturers are here or not here and what they do or don't do. What I will tell you is that they have been at the table in the past. When I was, just one second, I think somebody just called 911. So they have been at the table before in some circumstances. But, part of the challenge with technology, without getting into the specifics, is as quick as technology changes, organized crime infiltrates that change and then makes their own changes. So, it isn't the only solution. It is just one aspect of the overall strategy that has to be employed. Everybody has a role. Auto, insurance, police, government, everybody has a role. CBSA, we're doing a much better job collaborating across all of those entities. And we'll continue to work with all of our partners to make sure those that should be taking action are taking the steps they need, and we'll do our very best to do our job. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier in my remarks, when we push out crime prevention information and we continue to message the community, we need the community, as we engage with them, to take those tips or strategies and do something in their own area, right? So if that means if you have the opportunity to clean out a garage and park your vehicle in it versus leaving it in a driveway, if your vehicle is one of the vehicles, many that we have seen be targeted, then doing that is going to help you not be a victim of a car theft. It's those types of, in some cases it sounds simple. It's not so simple sometimes, I get it, but it's those simple things that actually can make an impact, right? We are seeing a drop. We'll continue to monitor this. As I mentioned before, there are those out in the community that still need to be held accountable for their actions, and we'll do that as well. But it can't just be enforce, walk away, and expect the problem's going to go away. That we know that's traditional policing methods. That isn't going to have the impact that's needed. Okay. It's a bit of everything. It's investigations. It's auto theft teams. It's crime prevention. It's the whole gamut to help us deal with the challenges that we're seeing in this area. Right. No different than all our GTA partners are seeing as well. All right. Oh. Brian, you want to come up here? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I can say IBC exists, the Insurance Bureau of Canada. They deal with the policy side of it and the premium side of it. Equite Association is the investigative, the operative operations side. But I can say the industry as a whole is doing whatever we can. As was mentioned before, it's a complex problem with a complex solution. All parties have to be in place and cooperating together. Making the vehicles harder to steal is a goal. Having it harder to steal in the first place. Until they are more fortified and harder to steal, the insurance company, different insurance companies are stepping up to make it harder for the vehicle to steal by going out with aftermarket parts. So those are the type of things that's occurring. As for premiums, again, I don't have those numbers. That's an IBC area of focus. Yeah, I mean, there's many companies that will provide that at no cost to their clients, just so that their vehicle is more protected. So it adds that sense of security for that vehicle. And then you raise the other point: is it up to the individual who just spent tens of thousands of dollars on a vehicle to have to go to aftermarket parts when the vehicle itself isn't secure?
That concludes today's press conference. Thank you all for coming. If you would like a one-on-one interview, please see myself or Constable James Dixon, and we will arrange that for you. Thank you.